Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast. My name is David.
My name is Zach.
Craig 5 standing by.
And this is where we talk about all stuff, in particular for this episode, all spoilerage for episode 4 of the ACOLYTE season 1. So you have been warned. We just saw the 4th episode of the ACOLYTE entitled Day. Before we get into it, we do want to give a shout out to all of our awesome top tier Patreon supporters. Hayden Hauser, Darth Ace 1, Liam McCallion, Chris Simpson, Kevin Leininger, Devin McCaffrey, Drew Peters, Zach Netzel, Fenrir 526, Amaya Morris, and Maka Tautala. Thank you so much for your awesome love and support. And guys, what did you think about this episode? And we can talk full spoilers here.
That ending was so frustrating.
I know. I feel that, Craig.
So frustrating. I'm like, now.
Right? It's right there.
So Leslie Headland, I think, what was her quote? She said she's pulling from the High Republic and EU characters. So we got Ki-Adi-Mundi straight up in there.
I was gonna ask that.
Was that him?
Yeah, in the credits it says
it even
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
looks like the same face, like the same body actor from the prequels.
Right.
He
right,
looked,
but this time with brown hair.
yeah, and he had a little bit of a hair on the top of his head. Or
Yeah.
his second heart.
And I'm guessing
what's
that
up
is
there?
Plo Koon as well.
I thought it. I mean,
Was he credited?
Who was Plo Koon's master? Do we know?
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
I thought so. If anyone's out there on chat, correct me if you can, if you do know. But yeah, I like the episode. I don't like the cliffhanger ending, but
Fitting.
man. So I guess we're gonna say is Manny Jacinto is that character Chimere? Is that the master? I mean, it
I
feels like
think
it's
it's
obvious.
I
don't
it's.
think so.
I think it is.
I'd hope so, but I don't know. I'm going into it with the expectation that Leslie Headland keeps saying like it's not going to go the way we think, and I feel like they'd want us to think that he's the master.
I mean, it's kind of like a Yoda situation where Yoda's like, pretending not to be this Jedi Master.
Hmm.
And he was all along, or the Master all along.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awful suspicious that all of a sudden he disappears and then, I don't know. I think it is.
Yeah, I suspected him as soon as he kind of fended off May before they left that one planet where, I mean, you would figure that May would be able to like just take on Chimere because he's just like a smuggler. He's like a scoundrel. But
Yeah.
he had some good defense against her and reasoned with her, and he claims to know the Masters. Well, I just feel like it is Chimere. I mean, it's just so obvious. But like what Zach said, I mean, it's a little too obvious, at this point. So, and then you also look at the dimensionality of the actual person. It looks like that actor, the shoulder width, the head. I mean, it all, and that character is actually there on Kofar. So, I mean, I don't know. It seems obvious now. But,
I think it is. If it's not, cool. It's fine either way. I liked him. I thought he's, a good, interesting character. He certainly felt like there was more to him than just like some drunken smuggler dude.
Yeah, if you look at it through kind of the colored glasses of yes, that is the master, like Zach said on the pre-show, yes, that is Smilo Ren. It feels like that he is so obvious now that character Chimere is the Sith. I mean, it's just ridiculously obvious. So if they pull one over on us, I guess fantastic, but it's gonna have to be something like really clever at this point.
Do we think that's like the big reveal of the season? Like, is that what all this is leading up to? Is who that is? Is that like the big question that we want to have answered by the end of the season?
I think that is one of the bigger questions.
Yeah,
I would say so.
I think surface level before anything started, before we saw episode 1. Yeah, that's
okay.
Probably one of the bigger questions. But yeah, Darth Ace 1 here in the chat on YouTube is saying my only complaint, it was only 28 minutes.
about that too.
Felt so short, man. So short. And with the series House of the Dragon Return on HBO, it's like an hour long, it felt like. And that whole series, I think they're hour plus long episodes. It's like, why can't Star Wars do that? Why
Yeah.
get that for Star Wars? They spent $180 million on this show. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
It did feel more open this episode when they were on Kofar. I like that aspect. It still feels a little bit too enclosed on Coruscant. I like that they went back. I like the fact that we got to see the Padawan training there happen with the kendo sticks there, and we got more background characters. And we saw a couple of characters that we saw in the sequel trilogy as well in this show. They probably reused the costumes. But I think we all kind of knew from the marketing that OSHA was going to be on the planet Kofar, so that really wasn't too big a surprise. The encounter, though, I thought this was going to be like season finale when we saw the Jedi getting pushed back. When the Jedi ignited their sabers, we got to see that in London for the first time back in 2023, and that was the scene that they kind of ended that panel, that celebration trailer on, and we were all kind of like freaking out because so many different characters, so many different lightsaber colors, and yeah, it was pretty cool. And we did get to meet Basil tonight, so we all kind of predicted that. Basil, who's our cover alien for this pre-show, for this episode 4 pre-show post-show. What do you think of that character?
He was pretty cool.
I thought he was cool. Yeah.
He wasn't like, you didn't get to see a lot of him, so you get to particularly get to know him or anything.
Yeah, we knew his purpose pretty early on, and I think kind of outside of that, I can't say a lot of people would probably expect more out of him. Maybe in more episodes we'll see him do something. You know, he defeats Smilo Ren. Maybe in the next episode we'll see. Watch out for the little guy.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting because we had Yor give a little like dialogue of when everyone was studying Shriwook, he was studying Basil's language, so he was like the main communicator between them and the Jedi.
Yeah.
So are these aliens the Tynan? I think they're called. Are they like the kind of the equivalent to like canines in a way? Just not as aggressive, because I mean they're basically like bloodhounds. So you could just put like a piece of cloth in front of them, and they can kind of just bloodhound search it out. That's kind of interesting.
Do we know much more about the hound that Bel Zettifar had in the High Republic books, who was Loden Greatstorm's apprentice? I know he had like a hound of some sort that kind of ran around with him. I don't know much more outside of that, but I was wondering if any of those roles overlapped.
I don't, but it looks like we have 60 people watching us on StreamYard, so if anyone in chat can enlighten us in regards to that hound in the High Republic novels, let us know.
Yeah.
So going to the comments here, Bradley Mackey says, wow, agreed, would have loved a longer episode, but the finger push at the end with Jaws was such a great cliffhanger. That's another nickname for the Master, Jaws. I've seen that out there.
Yeah, it was just frustrating that it ended right there. It's like,
Yeah, so we've totally caught up with all of the media that has seen all 4 episodes. So episode 5 has been talked about as being Leslie Headland's special episode.
Yeah, the episode.
Right. And I think episode 5 in Ahsoka as well, right? That was another when Anakin shows up in the World Between Worlds.
Yeah.
So I guess the mark to hit is make episode 5 really special. But I mean, after what we just saw with this cliffhanger, they're gonna have to give us a continuation of what we saw at the very end.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people are gonna be rioting if they don't. So hopefully we do. I think we're all kind of in agreement. Maybe Zach not so much that it is Chimere that is the Master, Jaws, Smilo Ren there.
I mean, it makes sense. It really does. I'm just trying to go off the beaten path, but because as the series has been going on, it's kind of been what you don't expect to some extent. and just kind of going off of what Leslie Headland's been saying about just peeling it back layer by layer. And I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'm full of crap, but
So yeah,
we all make our predictions, and we're never right, especially when we think Max Rebo's going to be in every series.
we made that prediction. Hold on now, Craig. That's a mighty claim.
yeah, when we put Max Rebo on a bingo card for
We
the
as a
Acolyte.
podcast,
We voted on it. It passed.
it passed.
Gosh, if only we had Coyote Monday in one of these squares, man.
How did we not think about that? That's kind of he was there
I mean,
too.
I didn't realize he was 1,700 years old. But
Yeah, how long do Coneheads live?
Yeah,
I guess I
he's
didn't
just a
think
young
about.
stud.
But or Plo Koon. I mean, if that was Plo Koon, and it certainly looked like it, like a
Yeah,
Plo Koon, it looked like he was young.
yeah. I think I heard for Plo Koon species that they could live to the point where the start of Acolyte, where he's a Padawan or a master, to the point where he's in the prequels in the Jedi Council, that he'd be very, very old on the Jedi Council for his species. But I mean, he did get killed rather easily in episode 3. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other big piece of information, we commented on it in the pre-show, that we all thought, and I think we all kind of assumed as a fandom, that Kel Naka was in self-exile, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was stationed there by the Jedi, which
But
is
they hadn't
kind of
heard from
interesting.
him.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of hit him.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the deal with that? What do you think, Craig?
I think maybe he just was kind of fed up with the Jedi Order. Maybe after what happened, he kind of wanted it. He'll be like, I'll be a Jedi, but just kind of leave me alone.
And by what happened, do you mean like in the flashback events of?
Yeah.
Because I mean, they said he was out there for a year, or did they not hear from him for
They
a
had
year?
heard from him for a year.
Okay.
Yeah,
But-
so we think that maybe Kel Naka kind of quit his job, so to speak.
No call, no show.
Yeah, I guess so. That's
He's
the
still
vibe.
he's still on the Jedi payroll, but he's not really doing
There's a
Jedi
glitch
things.
in the system.
Uh,
Wookie. Oh, hold on. Wookie gap here. Yeah. He's on sabbatical.
Oh man, I know Colin is not gonna like the fact that Kel Naka was
Dude,
killed
I thought
tonight.
the same thing. Like, well, I kind of felt the same way when Andara died in the first few minutes of the first episode. But, we got a little bit more of her in the flashback. But wasn't Jonas talking about like swinging lightsabers around as a Wookiee at Celebration?
Yeah, I think we're gonna get that in the flashback.
Yeah. So I know, I
yeah.
guess there's more of him to see, but.
Oh yeah. There's plenty of more to him to see. I think a lot of people had that kind of knee-jerk reaction when Andara died, and we're like, "Oh man, we lost Carrie Ann Moss." No, she filmed other stuff. So
hang on. We're gonna see him in action. Wouldn't that mean that he was like fighting the witches?
Well,
Or
here's my
Torben.
theory. Here's my theory about that. Right. So Zach brought that up in the pre-show. So I think that Anastasia or someone there made the Jedi fight themselves somehow. Maybe did like a spell, like kind of what was placed on Torben, where his eyes turned black and kind of controlled him. Maybe they were controlling them in a way, and we get to see action between the Jedi. I don't know. I mean, we have no idea. It's just all speculation at this point.
Who else would they fight though?
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't think the witches had lightsabers. Anastasia can use the Force, but I don't think she had a saber.
Can Coral use the Force? Did we learn that?
A lot of people think Coral is the master.
I wouldn't be
Kylo Ren.
surprised. She was the one holding grudges. But
I thought
maybe.
I thought it was possible, but I don't think so now. I think it's what's Kieran?
Yeah, Chimere. Yeah, played by Manny Jacinto. Yeah, I mean, we're still peeling back the onion and don't really.
Yeah,
not
we're halfway
too
through the
sure.
show, right?
Yep, we're halfway through the show. It's hit the halfway point. We got 4 more episodes, 4 more weeks of this, and no one else outside of Lucasfilm apparently has seen these episodes. So we shall see. There might actually be some leaks online, so be careful if you want to stay totally spoiler free, because I came across a couple things where I couldn't really tell what I was looking at, but it was implied some things. So I don't know. So we'll see what happens. So anyone else out there on the chat have any questions, opinions, thoughts on tonight's episode?
Just too short.
Yeah, it's just way
Yeah.
too short.
It flew by.
That's.
I mean, it seems to me that we're gonna get some Jedis getting killed in this next episode.
Yeah, Noah Richard on YouTube says, okay episode overall, pretty dull until the last 40 seconds. A great way to end the episode to ensure people tune into the next episode. So, yeah, I mean, we're all eager to find out what's going on here. And Bradley kind of agrees with what I just said on YouTube. Whoever the Sith Master is, turn the Covenant Jedi against each other. I mean, yeah, it's a weird thing. We still need to find out exactly what the Jedi did to be so remorseful, and it feels like they made a big mistake. And we need to know exactly what happened. And then we didn't see the lightsaber markings on any of the witches there in the coven. So what actually happened? I know Craig threw it out there that maybe the rocks crushed them, but I don't think so because there wasn't a lot of debris on them. It was around them, but I don't know what they've devised. I mean, it's still like kind of a wait and see. I like the fact that the Acolyte is this way. How I think we don't have. I mean, there's a lot of reasonable doubt for our theories and speculation. I love that aspect of the Acolyte. So yeah, that was another big thing. Hungry Han Solo on YouTube says markings in Kalnaka's place. Markings in Kalnaka's place the same as the one on May's forehead. Yeah, he had a lot of those like
that's true
spiral yin yang drawings, and it looks like he kind of became a little manic with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's a very good point. Yeah, they were all over his
domicile.
Domicile, okay.
That's a $10 word, yeah.
Yeah, that should have been on the bingo card. No Richard on YouTube says, does anyone else get the feeling that Osha and May will end up changing alliances by the end of the show? That's another popular theory that people are throwing out there, that they're going to do this big flip-flop. I was surprised that May kind of did the whole flip-flop thing.
So quick.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah,
it changes everything that Osha's there. So yeah, I'm just going to go to Kelnaka and kind of surrender to him and join the Jedi again. That was kind of a quick flip-flop there. What did you guys think?
Too quick. I agree. It was like pretty sudden.
Yeah.
Because she seemed even fairly angry and evil as a kid.
You
know?
You got to look at her kind of really what was influencing her with her actions. I mean, it was because her family was dead. She thought Osha was dead, but Osha.
But I mean, even before that, she said, "I'm going to kill you. I'll kill you." To Osha.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta.
And
I think that's more of a spur of the moment, like something a little kid would say. I mean,
but it was a spur of the moment change for her on the flip side too.
Right. I mean, but it's a little kid too. I mean, you got to kind of factor that in. I mean, not knowing if these, kids aren't that articulate, and maybe that was just kind of like a knee-jerk thing that she said, that if that kind of like psychosis where she was like, if we can't have you, no one can, and that's exactly what she really meant.
Yeah.
But yeah, the episode length. I mean, they could have. I was thinking this during the episode. They could have did some like panning shots of like Coruscant, give us a different angle. Maybe different establishing shots of where they were on Coruscant at the temple. Some hyperspace stuff, more hyperspace stuff. To make it seem bigger and more wide open, show the planet, show them arriving to the planet. I think there could have been some upgrades there, but there's still a budget though. They still got to keep within budget. But I mean, $180 million. That's a pretty big budget for a TV show. And then with Skeleton Crew, that's going to be the second largest budget for a TV show in history, right after the Rings of Power on Amazon. So, was there anything else in the episode that kind of jumped out at you?
I thought that he like when Smiler Ren was floating in the back, that like
Yeah,
oh,
that was kind of interesting.
I'm
How
gonna have nightmares
it
about
gave
that dude.
vibe for sure.
Sleep with a light on. Holy cow. That freaked me out.
yeah, it almost looked like the classic like white sheep
Yeah.
ghost,
He
but he was all black, and he did
just dropped in and
yeah
moved
float down.
forward.
It's like how
Blech.
powerful is this character in the Force?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of thinking like maybe there is some type of connection to Darth Plagueis in a way. I mean, Plagueis was super powerful as
You're killing me.
so. Yeah, what's the story with that? And I mean, just a flick of the fingers, he throws Osha to the side, and then he blows all the Jedi back.
Yeah.
Which
And
we
then-
saw right in the
Right,
trailer.
we'd seen that before.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't go from the Master doing the action and then the Jedi flying back. We hadn't seen that yet, but we all figured that. But yeah, that character is ultra powerful. It's like, what's going on?
Well, maybe he trains Darth Plagueis.
Right. I mean, I don't think there has to be, but it would be great if there was a Plagueis connection.
What if it's
Hungry
a-
Han Solo on YouTube says, "What's with Master Soul 2? Lord explain when they get back to the ship. He clearly senses something on the show, but keeps it to himself." Yeah, that's the other big takeaway.
Yeah.
That he's regretful and he wants to kind of tell Osha what really happened. It seems like. What are we
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
say?
Tell you everything.
Right.
Yeah. I kind of lost my train of thought. Shoot. Hold on. I'll try and find it.
Yeah, Bradley Mackey on YouTube says definitely picked up on that line from Soul 2. And Bradley thinks he's hiding something. Yeah, I mean, what happened? It's like once we find that out, I mean, it's kind of all downhill, I think. So we got 4 episodes left. I mean, what could we possibly see? Are we going to get what could they
Space
do?
stuff.
Are we
'Cause
going
we've
to get
seen
origin stories for each of these Jedi to help us reconcile the thing that they did back on Brendok? I mean, what is going to happen in these next 4 episodes?
What I thought was interesting was that Vanestra Rowe, she's like, we can't let the High Council know about this because, like, she's just snuffing more, like, she's just hiding more stuff. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah,
High Council, right? Isn't that what they said?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? The
So-
High Council.
There's another council above hers?
I think that's just the council that we know.
right. Yeah, it's the council probably comprised of like Yoda and,
Yeah.
and others that we're not quite too sure of. But
It was weird that Kieta Monday was in the background, like looking like, huh?
well, yeah, there was a shot once they left that corridor where he did give like a look of suspicion
Yeah, like,
towards
what's
Soul. Like, yeah, there's something else going on here.
like this?
Hmm.
Huh?
What were we talking about before the comments? I can't remember what I was going to say the life of me. This is killing me.
But see, the thing that jumps out to me is the fact that Leslie Headland said that we're not going to get characters from the prequels, and Coyote Mundy's a big character from the prequels. Yeah, so she's
Definitely
lying.
His name in the credits?
Yeah.
Yes, Coyote Mundy is in the credits. I stayed after. That's why the show started a little later, because I stayed and looked at the credits. They didn't put Plo Koon in there, so
There
I
weren't
looked
any
for that.
speaking lines, so I
Right,
guess.
right. Unless I totally missed it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe
Although
Basil.
much later it said it, but usually you have to have like speaking lines, I think.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But I was also looking for Basil too, who played Basil. I was thinking maybe Misty Rosas, the actress that played Quill from The Mandalorian.
And Frog Lady, right?
Like an all digital character.
I think the face
for
was a little bit.
right. Maybe the face was, but like the actual person in the suit, maybe.
Yeah.
Because I think Misty Rosas is like 4'8" or something. She's very small. And Bradley Mackey on YouTube says Yoda. Hopefully now this kind of like increases the chances here for me at least, I mean, the stock that Yoda's actually going to be
Do you
in the
want to
show
see
now.
Yoda?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
It has to make sense, of course.
It has to make sense.
It
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
just be the Dr.
Fan service.
Evazan Ponda Baba Rogue One cameo. Like they show up and
Yeah, that was dumb.
that was rough, man.
That was a dumb cameo. I will agree.
That was maybe the worst thing about Rogue One. And it's like minutes later, Jedha explodes. It's like they got off that quick. That shuttle must have taken off right after we saw that.
They were on their way to the spaceport. I'd rather have Yoda unless it really, really makes sense. You know?
Yeah.
Yoda's going to end up being the judge for all this stuff, and he's going to sentence all these.
Episode 1 Yoda.
Oh, man. Dust off that puppet.
And it's going to be digitally remastered in 15 years.
Yeah, I mean, how would they get Yoda in there practically? I guess get the Last Jedi puppet and de-age it? Or would they just go all digital? I mean, what would they do? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to them building a brand new Yoda puppet, a younger version, like kind of what we've seen in the High Republic drawings of his youthful 750 years.
So what's your opinion, guys? And I'd like to hear what everybody else says. What would you say this episode? I'd probably give this one a 7-ish. Although it did give a real creepy vibe towards the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But it's like it just cut itself so short that I was like, ah.
Yeah.
So I'd probably give it in the 7-ish range. Not that it was bad. It was good. I just felt a little cheated on where it ended.
Mm-hmm.
But there was some interesting stuff. And what about the part about the darkness in the forest? That it was dark or whatever.
I think the sun just simply went down.
No. But they mentioned something. They mentioned something about the dark or something, right?
Well, we did get the line from Chimere that bounty hunters won't step foot on that planet in that forest.
But I thought Osha said something too right before maybe she touched that creature.
They did reference the creature was attracted to light.
That's got to be a play in the next episode that all the lightsabers are out and about. These things are just flying around, kamikaze, running into lightsaber blades.
I mean, I think so many Jedi. How many Jedi do you think are going to die in the next episode?
Well, we only got one this past episode, so at least one more. I don't know.
If you didn't have a speaking line, you're toast.
Well, I mean, if that is Plo Koon makes it out.
Plot armor.
Yeah.
I bet Soul makes it out.
Yeah, I think Saul's going to make it out.
What if Yord died? Trying to protect Osha or something.
And that's the one big negative people can't talk about this show is that they don't worry about audience reaction to having Jedi just being killed every episode just about.
Yeah.
There's no hesitancy to kill off characters in this.
I mean, that's the whole deal with the show. The Jedi are being killed.
Yeah. Soul's the last one.
Wow. But the more I think about it, the more it feels like we're going to get a bunch of flashback stuff all the way. It almost feels like this is not the best case scenario, but we're not going to revisit that scene at the cliffhanger tonight until episode 8 now.
Oh, don't even.
That's what it feels like. The more I think about it, it feels like we're going to go all the way back into the past where we see the grouping of these 4 Jedi to go out to Brendok, and we learn more about their past and more about their motivations and how they think, how they work. And then we find out finally in episode 8 what happened. That's what it kind of feels like to me. I don't know. But Bradley here on YouTube says 8 out of 10.
Okay.
I think that's fine. Anyone else out there on chat?
Zach, you give your number?
I I like that it continued the plot from the first 2 episodes. I was really happy with that. I don't know. I'm leaning around a 7, maybe a 6.5, but maybe a 7. I thought the acting was pretty solid. I thought the characters were cool. I couldn't get past. I was watching this with my wife, and when OSHA walked up to the bug on the tree, I'm like, "Don't touch it. Just don't touch it. You know it's gonna move. Don't touch it." And and then I thought Jackie's line after that thing died was interesting. She was like, "It's an honor to witness something transferred to the Force." I don't know if that lines up with how she said that, but I thought that was a interesting line. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I did.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I don't remember exactly how she said it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with Hungry Han Solo here on YouTube. He says 7.5 out of 10. I agree with that.
That's about where I'm at with it too.
Yeah.
That's about where I'm at with it. So I think every episode so far I've given it like an 8, 8.5. But yeah, my ranking could change. I need to watch it again, and have my final opinion on it. But I thought it was interesting that they did go to Kofar, and we got to see more Jedi. God, it's such a tease, man, when the lightsabers come out and we don't get to see like full on lightsaber combat. It's we gotta wait. We're gonna get it, but we just gotta wait. I think there's actually a scene where Jackie in the marketing, so I guess it's not technically a spoiler, but we see her dual wielding lightsabers, I think against the master. So and we got to see her tonight color? with the practicing with the wood saber there and on Coruscant. But what were you saying, Zach?
What was the color of the second lightsaber she was holding?
I think they were both green.
Okay. So we go back and pause it and look at who had green lightsaber blades, and could be you, could be you, could be you.
They could switch it, just to...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the High Republic holds two sabers. So I'm thinking one of the Jedi that's there with him gets killed, and she just.
I think more of the Jedi are getting killed.
Right. But I'm just saying, yeah, the way that she actually dual wields with them, how we get to that point.
Did any of you guys think when we pan over to kill Naka and see him dead in the chair, did anyone else think he might have drinking the poison that? I mean, it would have had to been placed in front of him. Maybe he made his own. I don't know. I guess I'm kind of thinking of that as I'm saying this out loud. But I saw he looked like. I hate to say it. He looked like he was sitting in a chair, like he drank too much.
Right.
It
was an unusual shot, and it was like not until you saw the marks.
The front. Yeah.
And it looks like he was making food at first.
I was like, something's wrong. Like he's toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed like he was making dinner or something. And it was all like moss or something. Apparently Kilnaka's a vegan.
He was making stew. Root leaf.
I wonder what kind of creatures are out there on Kofar. I guess he's not a big hunter.
Bugs.
Yeah, they made it seem like it was very dangerous, but all we saw was those bug things. They look kind of like roly-polies.
Yeah. They fly now?
That's funny. So yeah, I think those are all the big things. Yeah, Kilnaka not being in exile, actually being assigned to Kofar as a Jedi still. May turning back, essentially kind of renouncing the dark side in a way.
Maybe because she didn't want to run anymore. Maybe she was just sick of running.
Like, I mean, she did talk about the last lesson being impossible to execute. So it's like, well, what does she do?
Kill a Jedi Master with no weapon, right?
Right.
Does the Force count as a weapon in that sense?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, automatically my mind goes to Force choking. I mean, just Force choke Kilnaka. I mean, Noah Richard here on YouTube says, I think having more flashbacks might hurt this show. It seems like short of Ahsoka flashbacks in live action Star Wars shows were some of the biggest complaints from fans. So, It
Well,
depends
I know
on
we
how
were
it's
complaining
executed.
about the flashbacks in Book of Boba Fett. How many times do we have to see Boba Fett run to the window and watch Jango Fett fly off in Slave One? 82 shots of the same thing. I was like, what is this? Show us something else. Is nothing else going to happen there?
Yeah. Yeah, if anyone out there on the comments has a theory of what we're going to see here in the coming episodes, I mean, what I just said was just kind of what's in my mind right now. We're not going to get a continuation of what we got tonight, which I don't want. I want to see the continuation. I want to see some action. I want to see lightsabers. I mean, it seems like that's like a promise that I hope they keep of just crazy action. But just the power of this dark side user, it's like it's kind of overpowered, you know.
Oh, I thought of what I was going to say a minute ago. So, what if this dark side force user that we see is like a rival Sith to what Plagueis could be? Kind of how Darth Maul comes back and Palpatine sees him as a rival in the Clone Wars. Like there were, there can only be two, no more, no less. What if there's a little like uptick in, there's these other two Jedi, maybe Plagueis and what was his Master Tenebris, maybe, and then there's this guy and whoever's resume he likes the most at the end of the show. I don't know. That's just how it could work and still keep Plagueis in the mix, and maybe they duke it out in season 2 if people survive. But that's a stretch.
When you're thinking about the overall arc of this, right? This guy, if he's the master, and now May or Osha don't become his apprentice, it has to continue if this is affiliated with Plagueis somehow. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, or is he just the end of the line? It feels like they're alluding that there's more going on here behind the scenes. So just interesting to think of, like, okay, does he have a master?
Being this overpowered, it seems like, yeah, this is the master now. I mean, can you think of a master of this guy?
But he's pretty young.
Well, young looking, if it is Chimere. But it was we did bring this up. It was interesting that when they had that kind of like meeting on Coruscant with Coyote-Mundi, the Jedi, I think Master Holden next to Coyote-Mundi brought up the fact that it be a splinter cell or organization, or whatever, and I didn't a splinter Jedi group, which I had never heard of something like that before. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Me neither. Anybody have any thoughts on that? Because I was like, huh?
Yeah, I mean, if that exists, yeah, that's really kind of bizarre. But then again, I mean, you think about like religion, and there's so many different types of religions, and if you mirror it to what we have here on Earth, but Noah Richer on YouTube says the show definitely needed this pick me up. I feel like the next episode will deal with a group of Jedi's escaping the Master, and once they're safe, Soul explains the rest of the story. I would like to say that. See that. That's to me, that's the better of the thoughts that I think I had. I want to get more answers, and it would be nice to know exactly what happened in the next episode. But then you got 3 more episodes to fill in for the season. So, but that's the thing that Star Wars Disney kind of typically does. They show us a lot of the stuff at the front end of the season in marketing, and the last end we don't see a whole lot.
Yeah.
What about the space travel that we briefly see in the trailer?
Yeah, when they're flying through the asteroids, yeah.
So where could people go? Where, what would be based on that? I mean, we see Soul in the ship, I think, in the trailer. Assuming he walks away from all this with, a handful of people, I wonder where they, maybe that's their trip back to Coruscant. Maybe they go back to Coruscant and then that's their trip to somewhere else. Maybe they go back to the planet where they found May and Osha to get some answers for some certain things. And maybe they go back to that planet and that's when more of the flashbacks come through while they're walking around on that planet again. Maybe May and Osha go there together with Soul. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here.
How many Jedi were in that group? 9?
Yeah, there was quite a bit.
Handful.
Yeah.
I'd like to hear the predictions of how many people, or what people think how many Jedi will die in this battle.
For sure, the guy who said, "Come out with your hands up," goner. I don't know. Just goner.
I think most of them, or many of them.
Yeah.
How ironic would it be if Osha saved Yord when Yord's like, "Give me that blaster. That's technically property of the Jedi Order, but that's like a shot she takes to save him or something."
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's a good thought. I mean, are May and Osha gonna be like completely helpless in this situation? You know what I mean? Like, I think they're gonna have to. I think something's gonna happen with them. They're not just gonna sit there and do nothing, right?
That, when you think back on it, that interaction between the Master and Osha was a little interesting. How the Master creeped up behind her and didn't strike her, didn't do anything to her other than just like flick her to the side to deal with the Jedi. Does the Master really want Osha? I mean, is that his end game?
It's certainly possible. It's hard to know what his end game is.
I think Noah Richard here on YouTube read my mind. Soul, Jackie, and Yord will be the only ones left standing. The rest will be treated like red shirts in Star Trek. The possibilities.
Yeah. I hope we don't start off the next episode with a 16 years earlier. Just give me like 5 minutes of like straight action and then you could do that. But yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll really get the internet talking if we see Anastasia creating the twins with the Force.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Or revealing that was maybe not done by her. Maybe it was done by another entity.
Well, okay. So I don't know how to word this. Obviously, so we find out Coral carried the twins.
Right.
But they look more like Mother Anastasia.
Right.
Is that something I don't even know how like genetics would work at that point. I texted you guys and I'm like, hey, if genetics can be a thing with midichlorian manipulation, does that make Anakin more Palpatine genetically than Shmi? But if it wasn't Anastasia, who else would it be?
So are you saying that thinking that Palpatine created Anakin?
Didn't Palpatine create Anakin?
So there's a comic book run where there's a comic book where it insinuates that, but I think George Lucas, Matt Martin, and other people in the story group have said that don't necessarily trust that's not necessarily what happened.
Okay. So I actually asked this to Rick, what was his name? McCullum?
Yeah, Rick McCallum.
At Disney Star Wars Weekends. And he said, I say yes, George says no. So George said no.
So yeah, it's one of those things that leave up into interpretation.
Because I asked him that. I was like, I asked him that in the autograph line, and then he kind of gave me an answer. But then I asked him again, and he kind of laughed, and he's like, "Oh man, like you're gonna ask me this again?"
That's funny.
Yeah, so Matt Martin, I think, has come out from the Lucasfilm Story Group and has said that don't believe that. So that's not necessarily the answer.
Comic panel had been. It was something about the comic panel.
Right.
The image from the comic panel.
Right.
Don't necessarily believe anything Matt Martin said. You will regret it instantly.
I tried to explain someone that story that I think it was Ted from Countdown City. How if I think a lot of people watching us don't know the story. So me and Craig Five were in the line back in 2017 in Orlando to go to the 40th panel. Those were the good old days where you didn't have to enter in the lottery. All you had to do was like spend the night in line.
Yeah.
So we were spending the night in line, and then Matt Martin just automatically just shows up, and we're like, "Whoa, that's Matt Martin!" And one of the hosts from IGN was there as well. I think Max Scoville, I think that's his name, and that guy's like really tall, like 6'6" or something. But anyways, they were talking, and I think Max asked Matt, what did he ask him exactly?
He just asked if we could take a picture with him or something.
I think he mentioned something about like almost like this is where the fun begins, right, Matt? Something along those lines. Like you're never gonna get you're not gonna get tired of this all weekend, are you? And then yeah, Matt gave like a surprising response according to Craig. I didn't hear it, but he acted almost like it was gonna be a chore. But he still took a picture with us. He took
a picture with us, and then I heard overhearing him say, "I regretted it immediately."
Yeah, I don't know if that's like his dry wit or humor or what, but yeah, when you told me that, I was like just like bent over laughing, man. That was hilarious. Because I mean, that guy, he is like 24/7 Star Wars. I think he got his start at Celebration as a volunteer, and he worked his way all the way up to the story group somehow.
Wow. I wish still a volunteer.
That's all it takes, guys. So yeah, I think those are all the big points that we covered. I mean, it's a short episode, so there wasn't a whole lot of stuff. I mean, we got to go back to Kofar, where Kelnaka's stationed. We learned that. Got to see the Master float down, do his best Mary Poppins.
Overall,
Mary Poppins, y'all.
Solid episode. A little short. Frustrating where it ended, but
yeah,
obviously we're all looking forward to see how that fight goes.
Yeah, for sure. And maybe it's not a fight. Maybe we just see him just take out everyone super easily and leave the ones that he wants to leave alive, and we go from there. But yeah, interesting to say the least here. I'm excited. I want to see what happens next. I think we're all kind of intrigued. Noah said it best on YouTube that the show really needed an episode like this to really kind of bolster our curiosity here and get our attention back. So yeah, we'll be back at the same time next Tuesday. We're going to do a pre-show and post-show, of course. And if anyone else has any closing thoughts in chat, let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, don't forget to like us wherever you're watching us or listening to us at. Don't forget to give us 5 stars if you're going to listen on audio. And yeah, I just want to say thanks, by the way, to everyone listening to us on audio. We have a lot of people listening to us, and we can see it in the numbers. So thank you so much for that. And likewise on StreamYard, a lot of people are watching us. 76 people right now are watching us.
They're probably like, don't leave us now.
Yeah, if anyone has any new ideas or heard something online, because we're not online, we're doing the podcast. If someone has something that we missed, let us know. And tomorrow we will be doing the breakdown for the Acolyte. It'll be me, Carl, and Craig, maybe, talking about the Easter eggs and kind of what we found out later on, and whatever new ideas have popped up online.
Carl did a good job on the last week's breakdown. I have to give him credit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he
kept
has
his clothes on this time, so that was good also.
Yeah,
things must be wild at Craig's house.
yeah, he went full Kelnaka last time. So, all right, I think that's pretty much it, guys. Unless anyone has anything else they want to say in chat. That is podcast. And I want to remind everyone that if you're watching us on YouTube, comment, like, subscribe. We're also on Instagram at Star Wars Stuff Pod, on Twitter at Stuff Pod, on Threads at Star Wars Stuff Podcast. And of course, you can support us anytime on Patreon. Get
And
a
do
shout
that.
out.
That really helps David a lot.
A ton. At Star Wars Stuff Podcast 2187. We're also on TikTok. You can email the show at starwarsstuffpodcast@gmail.com. A lot of you are watching us on Facebook. You can watch us there on our group and podcast page. And also, I want to give a shout out to Superhero Comic Con that's happening. You can go to pmxevents.com and you can look at all the celebrities that are showing up. Andy Serkis, Sam Witwer will be interviewed by Ted from Countdown. Hopefully, I get to hang out with those people as well and talk to them. They are going to have a booth there. I'll be there. Also, Diego Luna is going to be there, and he's going to do a big panel at the Coliseum
Is he
next door.
signing too?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
signing and autographs. So
That's awesome.
it's going to be really tough not to get one of those. So
If only more people would have subscribed to the Patreon. Got his autograph. Come on, people.
So Bradley Mackey on YouTube says, thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Bradley, for joining us. And we hope to see you next week. And for Zach and Craig, my name is David. And may the force be with you.
We'll see you
And
tomorrow.
also with you, right? Stole your line, Craig.
Always.
Yeah.
And you.